Also, in between the bits of comedy, yes, we've set up various fun things which are going to pay off during the show. That's almost worth it. Ooh, I'll do that again. We've set there are going to be some fun things. Yeah. The first of them is a giant eBay auction, which is also to raise money for Pompey Soccer. And this started a couple of days ago, and all the lots have been set up to finish during the show. So we're going to have a sort of thrilling situation where people in the room can bid, but also people can bid online. So it'll be like us against them, or more accurately, let's hope we get some money. But actually, it's not. In most cases, it's not about the money. It's about the fun of having an auction where we do it live on stage. And
it's kind of about the money.
It is sort of about the money, but if you look at some of the lots, you'll see that it's not about that much money. For example, I won't talk you through all of them, but I'll introduce a few of the key lots. Tonight, Paul's going to be manning this auction live on stage. If you've never seen an eBay auction live, fuck me, you're in for a treat. So this is an example of one of the items, a bottle of ketchup once nearly bought by the Arsenal goalkeeper John Lukic.
Technically, it's a bottle of ketchup that we've heard was nearly bought by John Lukic. I didn't see this.
No, this was donated by someone who swears blind. And to be fair, it's not the sort of thing you'd make up, because it's not even like David Seaman, who probably most of you have heard of, even if you're not a football fan. John Lukic was the Arsenal goalkeeper in the mid-80s through to the early 90s. Very successful goalkeeper, won a few trophies, but with all due respect, not the sort of person that is so famous that you'd falsely claim to have a ketchup bottle that they'd nearly bought. So what you're bidding for here is a bottle of ketchup that's almost certainly was, basically the story is, it's a great story, Lukic picked it up, thought about buying it, and then didn't. And the current price for this, there's been like 8 bids. But
£4.41.
It's at £4.41. I don't use the word dream lightly, but the dream is a fiver for that, definitely.
I was asked to tell people by the person who gave us the bottle that he has been using the bottle. It was broken in the incident, and he has now been taking the bottle to restaurants and using it. So if anyone is bidding on it, it may not contain. No, it may not contain. It could be 2/3 full.
Okay. So just to clarify, if you were thinking this could be a way of just getting some ketchup, it's not really about the ketchup, but it has been handled by a very successful goalkeeper. So that's sort of. I'm giving you a couple of examples of lots to inspire you with the idea that if you haven't got much money, which, to be fair, most of them haven't these days, you can still quite easily win one of these things, because that's by no means the cheapest lot in the auction. On the other hand, there are a couple of actual things. I should mention the Subbuteo team briefly. I don't know who remembers or knows what Subbuteo was. Yeah. It is. Subbuteo is a game where you flick the footballers. So it's unlike real life where you're not allowed to do that. You all know what Subbuteo is. Tiny little men play football. It's a cult board game of the 80s. Not really a board game, it's not a board, but a pitch game. And a special. Nowadays, no one plays Subbuteo because of the advent of computers. With things like, PlayStation, and also just because civilization has sort of moved on a bit from that. But we've got a specially made Subbuteo team of Pompeii. This is obviously a unique item, and it's got all of the individual players. You won't know who the players are, but damn, they're accurate. So this is up there for, what is that,
It's gone for £21.
That's regular £21, just in case you're thinking, this isn't really an auction, it's just a very embarrassing parade of shit.
I don't think anyone was necessarily thinking about it.
Well, the ketchup's maybe not the sort of most impressive thing.
We shouldn't have opened with the ketchup. I told you we shouldn't have opened.
You don't open with the ketchup. I don't think auction is. I don't think at Sotheby's they say the first thing is ketchup, but then there's a lot of reasons why I don't do that. The best thing for me about this auction is I get to sort of do things like an auctioneer does. I go, can I have 10? Can I have 10? So I'm going to be really good at that later. We won't know who has bid because I'll just be yelling like a fucker.
Should I do one of the items that's actually quite good?
There are a couple of items pertaining to me which are, you have to say, quite impressive if you like me.
What about the book?
Yeah,
11.
Yeah,
this one.
Let's cut straight to the chase. This is the most expensive item so far. This is how much is it on?
It's on at £82.
This is my book, which is a novel which I've just written. It comes out in August, but there aren't any copies in the world yet, so there's no way of getting one yet. Is there? No. That's a real bit of auction skill, you see. So I'm auctioning a copy of this book, which, as I say, will come out in August, when you could quite easily buy it for £9. But this, no, I think it is actually £11.99. Anyway, however, in this book I'm going to write a quite intricate handwritten intro, which if it's someone here, I'll do it live on stage, and you know. If it's not, and I don't think it will, well, it might be, but basically the top bid is an astonishing £82 so far. This only went up a couple of days ago. And it does make you wonder whether if I just did this sort of stuff more often, I'd make more money than I do in my actual comedy career. Never mind the tours, I just eBay stuff that is mine. I suppose a lot of people do live like that. So anyway, I'm mentioning this because you may well think, well, I'm certainly not going to top that bid, but there's the added excitement of just seeing that auction unfold as the evening goes on. So there's something for everyone, really. Should we also, yeah, I might as well mention the one about being in my book, because that's quite a peculiar. A lot of the lots are quite self-explanatory. There are things to do with Pompeii. There's a couple of things signed by me. There's something like stuff like my books, or there's a box set of all my books and my radio shows on audiobook signed by me as well. Not, I wish it was signed by someone better, but by me. But then also there's this peculiar lot, which is a character named after you in Mark Watson's next book. So what that is I'm writing another novel, which will come out in 2012. It's a 2-book deal with the publisher, so it almost definitely will come out unless I just write bum, bum, bum. Even then, it'll still come out, but they'll put Irving Welsh's name on it or something. 90s lips joke there. And no, I don't know, it's not fair anymore, just good writer. So rude. Anyway, so basically I'm auctioning the right to, you can have your name, I'll give your name to a character in the next book. My publishers don't know about this, I should really be doing it. But they'll soon know because we're tweeting as we go along all the way through this show. That at the moment is a sort of quite modest price.
£36.
I'd say modest, insane, £36. This has been done before. Sarah Waters did this, the author Sarah Waters is where I got the idea from. But still, you might fancy that. Anyway, so those are some of the lots. Over the next couple of hours, we will literally see these lots completed. At the moment, there's how much time left on them? About 2 hours. Most of them finish when this show finishes. So there'll be bits in the show where I actually throw these lots open to the room and do it like a live auction. But also the eBay auction will be ticking along. If you actually want to bid on something, we'll probably have to piss about getting you to do it on eBay. Obviously, I don't think I'm allowed to just sell it to one of you and then put on eBay. Oh, in the end, there was another auction. I'm not sure of the ramifications of that, but I've never seen a lot on eBay which was won by someone who didn't go on eBay to do it. But I'm sure there's a way which, if we get a bid live in this room, we can transcribe it, we can do it, I don't know. So, that's one thing that will be going on. I don't mind telling you, it's going to be pretty exciting. The other thing, before we sort of get an actual comedian on, is a challenge. I'm about to begin a challenge. We're going to have a challenge which runs all the way through the night, which is this. What we were hoping when we started this was to get guests from the world of football, and we have got a couple of guests who I'll be unveiling later, but they're not from the world. In fact, one of them is, but most of the people here are just from the world of the world, basically, from the world, which is fine. But it would be nice just to get one actual professional footballer in the room at some point during the show. So what we thought we'd do is, the only sensible way to do it is send 2 people out on a hair-raising challenge. So will you please now welcome to the stage Simon Bird and Tom Rosenthal. So this is comedian Tom Rosenthal and comedian and actor Simon Bird. From TV's The In-Betweeners, exactly. And he was also on the short-lived BBC 4 experiment, We Need Answers. Now, you move on. Now, basically, these 2 men, you would think, have got no chance of finding a footballer in the paltry time that remains for this show. Or have they? No, probably not. But actually, have they? Maybe. The rules are quite simple. Tom and Simon will do anything possible to find a footballer. Whoever that is doing the whooping is doing a terrific job there. It's one thing when Simon and Tom came on, but to do it just sort of in the middle of a sentence that was purely just logistical was excellent. Woo! We're being told the rules. They can do anything to find a footballer. Basically, is, are you going to take anyone with you, like in England, or are you literally going to? Well, there was an idea. I had the idea that they could take a sort of an audience person with them or something like that. But then I realised that that person would have paid to see a show and then missed it all. Experience has shown me that when people come to see a show, they like to sort of watch it. So if anyone does want, if anyone's seen enough by now, and thinks, fuck it, I might as well just be out in the sunshine, then you're welcome to go along. But basically, there will be two teams, Team Bird and Team Rosenthal. They will go out and try and find a. Are you conferring? Or are you
yeah.
Even though you're in opposition.
Well, I didn't know we were going to be in opposition, so we'd already sort of made some plans.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we could. I was going to do it sort of head to head. You could do it as a team. It would be quite lonely to us, but life can be lonely. A little bit like the general election. This began as a competition. It's become a team effort. A bit of satire there. I can still do it. I don't mock the weak quite as often these days, but still. That's actually through choice. It was making me suicidal. Just won a series now, more than that, and it's tears. So, what was I talking about before? Sort of the parody of me that.
About
yes,
teams,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Before the undermining of my self-esteem by panel shows, I was talking about this. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be more fun if you worked as a team. No, it would be more fun if they went head-to-head, but there's more chance of success if they work as a team. It's better for the country. So, well, but it's you're the audience, you've paid to see a thing here. Who'd like to see them, in the interest of pooling our resources and probably having more chance of getting a footballer, who'd like to see them work as a team? That's everyone. Fine. So in that case, they'll work as a team. I'm quite happy to give the opponent what they want. Basically, the rules are, the best case scenario, I suppose, is Pele. That's the absolute dream of Pele. I think if we get Pele, the irony is that it wouldn't be, like, he wouldn't be that entertaining, I don't think. He doesn't speak English that well still, he would mumble and he'd end up talking about impotence. I don't know, Pele advertised something like Viagra. Anyway, it would still be great. I think it'd be great to have Pele, the world's greatest ever footballer, or even someone like Johan Cruyff, the world's second or third greatest ever. That would be sort of, or even Maradona. Although I wouldn't really want to see him. But you know, if we could get, so that's sort of number one is a World Cup legend, I suppose. That's level one. That's like a lot of points. Doesn't matter how many points because this is no longer a competition. But then failing that, anyone that's ever played football professionally would be impressive, I think. Especially if they're still a current footballer. Failing that, someone that resembles a well-known footballer. And failing that, just someone that's walking around Leicester Square with, like, that is Spanish or something. And maybe do a bit of juggling or something. So that's basically the game. And now and again we'll check back with our team and find out if they have A, got Pele, B, got anyone else. So you can use any means necessary, and you go with all our best wishes. So we'll check in with them periodically. Ladies and gentlemen, please now. You did it again. This is so exciting. Literally going to go now and do a thing. It's Simon Burke and Tom Rosenthal, and they're going separate rooms and they're going to meet because they're a team. Bloody hell! If you're clapping now, you wait till they come in with a 70-year-old Brazilian. Or Cruyff, or anyone, even Mark Hughes. So, great. So that's basically what's happening tonight. Things like that are happening. The auction's happening. I'll be coming on and sort of flailing around. Actually, you might not know this, but a few of you will know that I'm doing a blog every day for the next 10 years. Began on February 18th. Anyway, I haven't done it yet, so at some point tonight I'm going to need to do that as well. Very simple. We'll just do it as a team. Tiernan, where's Tiernan?
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, somewhere over there is Tiernan. I'll bring Tiernan on later, but Tiernan's going to be tweeting and doing like a live feed of this show as well. So there's lots going on. It's nice to be in a place where there's lots going on. But the missing ingredient so far has been the bit where an actual comedian comes on and does some jokes. So we're going to do that now. Bearing in mind the clapping practice we've done, which I must say went very well, I'm not going to make you sort of go all the way through the stages of clapping. I'm going to say his name and ask you to go straight into level 3 clapping, which, in case you've forgotten, was sort of slightly horrible displays of like really like, okay, so I mean maybe you should practice. So will you begin the clapping now, just a very basic level, level 1, wary. We go to level 2 on happy vibes for all. And now, with level 3 clapping, cheering, whooping, etc. Please welcome the brilliant Shambles! There you are. You've seen it all now, a bit of actual comedy. Really, it's really funny as well. I mean, because it's good, it's sort of quite relaxing. I've been in this situation before where you bring the first act on thinking, oh dear. I say first act, I mean, we've been here for ages. But it's, this is an unusual type of show. It's got a little bit of everything. We saw there some actual good stand-up comedy. There's an auction going on. As we speak, 2 men are marauding around Leicester Square trying to find a footballer, or someone that looks like a footballer, or someone that can do a bit of football. I'm going to, in a minute, bring on another act so that we can sort of keep this actual comedy going. But first of all, just an update on the auction. Paul, have there been any new bids?
There have been no new bids.
Yeah, right. So you can see the auction is really sort of gathering steam. Very often with eBay, it's not until the final few moments that you really start to get. But I'm just going to mention a couple of the other lots. Lots is things that you get in an auction. I don't want to go too much into auctioneer's jargon, but lots means items or, as I say, things. Lots. And even if there aren't lots of them, you still use that term. So there are a couple that haven't been mentioned yet. Have you got the ball there?
I just left it around there because it's really heavy.
Yeah,
but I will go and get it.
There's a ball which I got on Soccer AM. Soccer AM is a popular. Who's seen Soccer AM? Yeah. Yes, it's a football-themed magazine show on Sky with a bit of football and a bit of sexism. It's on Saturday mornings and they talk about football for a bit and then they show loads of highlights over and over again and then a woman comes out. So I've been on Soccer AM 3 times. Yes, always. Yeah, there we are. And that's the first spontaneous ooh we've had, and that's a brilliant bit of audiencing. So just to let you know, this. Yeah, I got this. I've been on the show 3 times, so I got this ball in recognition of my efforts. And to show my gratitude that I'm selling it. It's signed by everyone on Soccer AM, which is or isn't interesting depending on if you've ever seen Soccer AM. Now this is, you might think, oh, this is way out of my league. I think this will be at least 5 figures. But actually, £10.51. I suppose it's 4 figures. £10.51. Yeah, it's 4 figures, but there is a decimal point in between 2 of them. That's actually better than it was a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, we could always ask if that bid was supposed to be 10,051.
No, I think it probably was just £10.51. I suppose I should ask actually, because that's a relatively new bid. Is that's since the start of the show?
Yeah, are you trying to say that I didn't pick this up when you asked me if there were any new bids?
Yeah, I'm saying you might.
I take my job very seriously in that.
Has anyone in the room bid, like using a phone or something? No, I would hope not, because that's against the spirit of the game. There'll be plenty of stuff still. So basically what I'm saying is for 11 quid, you could have a pretty heavy ball in a case. With sort of signatures on it that are sort of limited interest really. So there's not there. I'm going to leave that on the stage as we're going to leave it as bait. This is what I call bait. So it's literally just there. Now and again you'll glance at it and think, fuck, £11, I can have that thing. From my point of view, it's handy to get it out of the house because the wife's fed up with it being in the study. Quite a lot of the things that are on the auction are just things that my wife Emily will no longer tolerate being in the house. And that ball comes in that category. However, there's also a couple of the lots are player sponsorships where you get to sponsor an actual player in the team that they've created. Is it 2 of them?
It's 2 players, yeah.
So Paul's just going to quickly mention a bit about the 2 players.
Yeah, what we actually did was we asked for people to sponsor every player in our squad, and we did find people in the UK, and it was really, really nice of them. But we had 2 players left over, and it kind of looked a little bit awkward. I mean, and they weren't even our 2 worst players. People snapped them up, and I was really surprised by it. But this guy, Denson Fairfield, is he's going for £18 at the moment, And,
just to clarify, you don't get the man.
you might get the man if you bid enough.
How much will it take? Is there a buy it now where you actually own him?
No, you can rename him for a little bit less than that.
So you'll own at least some of this man. Tell us about Denson Fairfield.
His main characteristics are a lack of hair. You might be able to see that here from the picture. He also drives a taxi, and his characteristic is driving it to training while he's on the meter, leaving it there, and then coming back and taking his people home.
There we are. So for just £18, you can sponsor a footballing taxi driver with sort of not really a good idea of where his job begins and ends.
Yeah. Well,
it's called Denson Fairfield. Who hasn't dreamed of sponsoring someone called Denson? Everyone has. And the other person?
Yeah, the other one is Brian Taylor, and he kind of wears orange a lot. That seems to be his main talking point. I mean, if you're going to describe him, that would be what would come to mind.
These guys that are often in orange.
Often in orange. He was in orange for this photo, for example.
What's he going for?
Sorry, £10.50.
There we are. So a bid as low as £12 could give you sort of at least some rights over a man called Brian Taylor in the Pacific.
You can at least make him feel really guilty if you ever see him.
There we are. Yeah, you sponsor for 12. So there we are. The full list of lots I'll come to in the start of the second half when I'll be doing an actual live auction in this route. So if you're looking at some of these things thinking, bloody hell, I'd love to buy those things, then what you want to do is spend the interval mulling it over. Decide amongst yourself, but we're talking about an individual mental process. Describe amongst yourself, decide how much you'd be prepared to bid, and then at the start of the second half we'll have a live auction. So for example, you might look at this ball and think, I'm not going above 500 for that. And know how much that you're prepared to go. Of course, in an auction, sometimes one loses one's head. But at least, if you think I'm not going above 500 for the ball, then maybe at least you won't go above 750. It's that sort of situation. And then we'll actually do that at the start of the second half. Also at the start of the second half, we'll be checking on the people who are hunting footballers and so forth. But I'm now going to bring on another act because it's quite a lengthy preamble at the start of the show. You might well have been thinking, oh, there aren't actually any acts at all. This is just a very long blag. To prove that's not the case, I'm going to bring another act on. Because I've already mentioned, and it wasn't a joke, generally the people don't know when they're coming on, so I will just check that he knows. Matt, are you there? Oh, it's fine. Oh, he's ready. There we are. Oh my God. He's actually waiting at the side of the stage, like if it was an actual comedy show. So I'm going to bring on another comedian. This man, you're going to really like him. He knows, he likes football, but he's not an idiot. He's a good comedian, quite about the same height as me, maybe a bit more if anything. Certainly not short. You're going to really like him. So I don't know, that sort of graduated applause thing worked really well last time, but it's patronising to keep doing that. This time, I'm going to bring him on. I'd like you to erupt straight from nothing into euphoric applause. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for that? I'm not going to ask if you're ready, because exactly, if you were to cheer, yes, we're ready, that would sort of slightly, it would diffuse the atmosphere. Let's just go for it. Ladies and gentlemen, no, don't even clap yet. Everything you've got, you should be holding back, ready for an eruption of excitement. Ladies and gentlemen, will you now please graduate from befuddled silence into near orgasmic approval as we welcome to the stage Mr. Matt Ford!
Hello, London! Fucking hell, that's it. How you doing?
Right, we're going to have an interval in a moment. It's been quite a long first half. It's fun though. Just all around there. God dear, £500. In the second half, we're going to actually. By the way, just about the mechanics of the auction. If you've got an eBay account, it'll be quite easy because we're going to set up a computer so you can sort of. If you haven't got an eBay account, but you're thinking, I don't think I can live without a rubber duck that's. A Burnley FC rubber duck. So, no, I've got a rubber duck. Anyway, at the moment I think it's about £2. then there you are.
2.19.
So at the moment there's a rubber duck which is in the Burnley colour, which is £2.19. So if you want a bid but you haven't got an eBay account, we've got a way of doing it. So all that will be revealed at the start of the second half. Also at the start of the second, well, there's going to be there's so much stuff that's going to happen in the second half. You might be sitting there thinking, I'm just about ready to go home now. No, it's not an option. There's a lot more stuff that's going to happen in the second half. There'll also be we've got a thing where you can donate if you feel like sort of giving a small amount of money to the thing, but without actually buying any of this tack. Then we do also have that in place because we have to acknowledge the possibility that people might be interested in the cause, but not necessarily want a ball in a case. Or to be responsible for a man called Brian Taylor. So we've got all those things set up for the second half. Also in the second half, we will check on the people that are trying to find a footballer. Always right, but the whoop was pretty good as well. And we're also going to meet, in amongst all this, we've got an actual guest who's an actual very well-known sports broadcast personality, very well known as the face of, among other things, Formula 1, football. Well, basically, it's Jim Rosenthal. So we're going to meet Jim Rosenthal! That's right. That is worth a clap on its own. Yeah. And that doesn't even scratch the surface of what the second half has. Well, actually, it does. That's a pretty good impression of the second half. But there's also some more comedians, and I'm going to do a bit of comedy, and we'll get this auction going. And it's going to be a very good second half, I think. I don't normally raise hopes unduly. But also, just before we go to the interval, where are Joel and Sean? Sean McLaughlin, that is.
Right.
And it's Joel here as well?
Yes.
Yep. Right, come up here. I'm going to send 2 more people on a challenge, which, just before. Joel, what's your surname?
Dommett.
Yeah, I couldn't remember it. Please welcome to the stage, Joel Dommett and Sean McLaughlin. We're going to have an interval now, but just briefly, there's what we need to make the second half sort of even better than this half is just sort of slightly more people. We need a bit more of an audience. We've got about at least 100 spaces, and I think you'll agree we deserve this place to be full. If anything, we deserve it to be overfull and some people to be sort of sent away. Although, I mean, if we're in here now, you won't now be sent away. That'd be harsh. But I'd like to. So most shows, once you've started, that is the audience. But this is an unusual show that we can still attract people while the show's going on. So I'm going to send Joel and Sean basically to try and get more people to come. So Joel and Sean, your challenge is Michael McIntyre's on in this same building. There's another show in this building as well, which is just finishing now. And also there's loads of people milling around Leicester Square. So are you up for the challenge of trying to boost the audience for the second half? Of course they are! Because that's so basically, as I said to the people looking for a footballer, you can use any means at your disposal. In other words, sort of ideally don't kidnap people. But even if you do that, that is fine actually. So Joel and Sean, either by sort of extortion or by polite persuasion or by probably, in the end, sort of taking people by force, are going to get people, and so then we'll have another challenge going on, we'll have more people coming into the audience, or at worst, I suppose we'll have legal problems in the second half, and that'll be quite fun. So please, once again, give your best wishes to Joel and Sean, Audience Crusaders. Right, tremendous audience, you deserve the interval, which we're now going to have. It'll be about 15 minutes. There are bars there. After the interval, more comedy, more auctioning, more challenge fun, and sorry. Most basically, you're going to really enjoy yourselves. So, I always feel that you deserve a clap yourselves, really, but you can only do that yourselves, so it's sort of it's a circle. But, so what I'm going to say, this is the interval, and then you should clap, but it will be partly a clap for yourselves, but also a clap for the acts you've seen. So please, can you give yourselves and the acts you've seen a clap for Sean Walsh and Matt Ford?